to the Paranormal Classroom, where we take attendance for the unexplained. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Lindsay, and we're two teacher moms talking about stuff that freaks us out.
Welcome, scholars.
With your karate chop hands.
You know what? Today is April Fool's Day, so I had this thought that you might do a whole story for me, and at the end of it be like, I made that all up.
That's mean.
Please don't do that.
I would never. We have ChatGPT for that.
Yes, all April Fool jokes are mean, though. I don't like any of them.
No, I learned something today about April Fool's, though, that was kind of fun. Mm-hmm. That you're going to hear a light rain in the background of our podcast today. It's like being inside of a sound bath. Welcome to the Pacific
You may
Northwest.
fall asleep.
When I count backwards from 10. So in France, they call April 1st, or this time of year, maybe it's not just April 1st, but they call it les poissons à huile, which means, and I could have totally butchered that pronunciation, but it means the April fish.
The April fish?
So apparently, fish are born in the spring.
Okay.
And the baby fish, the young fish, are very easy to catch. So an April fish is an easy to catch fish, a gullible, naive, easy to fool fish. So now my thing is going to be, like, whenever somebody is getting on my nerves or I think they're stupid, fish. What's a fish? And they'll have no idea what I'm talking about.
They'll have no idea what you're saying, but you'll know.
In my head, I'll know.
And you'll laugh on the inside.
And I'll build really strong, healthy karma. So before we started recording, you said you were emotional, having an emotional release.
Yes, I'm having an emotional release.
Is that what's haunting you kind of in a way?
Mm-hmm. It's not a bad thing. We ended up, if you've been following the dog saga, go back and listen to other episodes. But we have rehomed our Malinois that came to us unexpectedly. We unexpectedly ended up with a Malinois puppy in our lap.
You unexpectedly.
I unexpectedly.
Everybody else in the family knew exactly what was going on.
If you don't know what a Malinois is, I would look it up because it's only recommended for maybe 2% of the population. And we are not Malinois people at all. Like, we are.
Most people aren't, obviously. 98%
of us aren't. We really aren't. We really.
I wouldn't be able to do it either.
Ooh, and I tried so hard for that dog for 4 months, like, to give it the life that it wanted and deserved. And we would have had to just completely change who we are.
And that's just not feasible for anybody.
We found a great home for it.
Good.
And that's why I'm emotional. So I'm a little sad to say goodbye. Part of me is worried that, did I do the right thing? But I really worked hard to find. That's why I'm exhausted.
Where did you find them?
I specifically targeted people who had experience with Malinois, experience training them with the military or something similar to police force, who really wanted one, who was home a lot and could be with them. And I found a great person who fit all that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck, Winnie.
Yeah.
Get out there and do your dog thing. That's awesome. I would, by about hour 8, because, I really sort of speak for like 6 hours a day, if you think about it. Well, I'm on. Not necessarily speaking, but, like, feels like putting on a performance 6 times a day, 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
I think by about hour 8... I would start getting annoyed and start thinking, oh God, how am I going to keep this going for another 16 hours? By hour 15, the bitchiness is coming hard and it's going to be just no filter. You get what you get. Hours 20 through 24, I can't stand. There's no standing anymore.
No, I wouldn't have made it standing.
I
wouldn't
lie
have
down
made it.
and talk.
I don't think I would have made it 5 hours without a bathroom. At this age of my life, age and stage.
He was doing pretty well. You could tell he needed a nap hard, but he did it in a full beautiful suit the whole time. And then other people there have to stay up with him. Filibustering, you gotta stay.
Wow.
That wild?
Yeah.
Good for him. And it was all positive and unifying, and that was the goal anyway. And it's just been the opposite of what we've been hearing from people in power, and it was just lovely. What I needed, what my heart needed. All right, so Amanda.
That's me.
That's you. Have you heard about the mystery of Roanoke?
Roanoke is very familiar. Is this one of the first towns that people came to, the pilgrims came to?
Yes.
Is it something happened where was everyone disappeared or something?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's not the story I'm going to tell you today, but it's in that same vein. So, but Roanoke is one of my favorite things to teach kids about. In 5th grade, I would dress up and in like period costume, totally an accurate period costume, but it didn't matter. It looked like Pioneer probably, but you know, the kids went with it. But Roanoke was one of the first English colonies in the late 18th century. It was established in 1587. So when I say one of the first, pretty much the first, on the eastern seaboard in what is now, oh God, what is it now? Is it now North Carolina? Yeah, I believe it's now North Carolina. But the crazy thing with that is that the people all 115 settlers, some of them went back to England to get supplies.
Okay.
And when they came back, the return was delayed because of a war with Spain. So it was a couple of years. And when they finally came back in 1590, the settlement was abandoned with no sign of the colonists. Nothing. Only the word Croatoan, Croatoan, carved into a post, and CRO carved on a tree. And that's it.
What's Croatoan mean?
No idea.
Weird.
Yeah, so lots of theories, and I would use it as what I call a history mystery with my students, which I would do every once in a while, where they had to research theories and then argue for their favorite theory and make a case for it.
You were like training them to be little podcasters like we are.
Well, looky there.
Look at that.
I didn't even know I was going to be a podcaster. Theories about the fate of the Roanoke colonists range from assimilation, this is my favorite theory, assimilation into the Croatoan, which is now the Hatteras tribe.
Wait, but I thought you said you didn't know what Croatoan
I don't know what
meant.
it means, but supposedly it was the name of a local tribe.
Oh, Native American tribe?
Yes.
Okay.
Indigenous people.
Okay.
Yep.
I can see that.
That's my favorite theory because supposedly, like, here's what I love to imagine, that they fell on hard times, indigenous people built a relationship with them and vice versa, and they just assimilated into the tribe. Well, there are people descendant from that part of the world, tribes from that area, that have like red hair and freckles, but also they have indigenous blood.
That's
and
interesting.
So I think that's a fun theory. There's not a ton of proof, but that's my favorite theory. I always like the romantic twist, hoping that that's it, but it's very rarely the romantic twist. Also, death from disease or starvation, but there were no remains.
But there were no bodies.
No bones, or even attacks by other indigenous groups.
But again, no bones.
No bones. No definitive evidence has ever been found, making it one of America's oldest unsolved mysteries.
Neat. That's neat.
It's a fun one. It's a really fun one to read. There is I think it's on Amazon Prime. There's a series called Roanoke. I haven't watched it, but I just read the description of it when I was looking for something to watch recently. And I think it was like 3 sisters. Last week it was a plane. Today it's a military helicopter.
We live by the military base, if anyone's wondering.
Moving right along. So today we're going to dive into some of the most chilling and eerie ghost towns in the world.
That sounds wonderful. I love going to visit ghost towns.
Me too.
Do you know what I was just thinking about just this week?
We should go on a road trip. Is that what you're
Yes,
thinking?
I'd love to go on a road trip. That wasn't what I was thinking. But I was thinking, you know how we see things here in America and we're like, that's so old. Like,
oh yeah,
like you were just mentioning the Roanoke tribe,
right?
1500s, and they probably still have some structures, and we can see them in America and be like, that's so old. But then it just hit me. There are people in Europe or the Middle East who are like, wow, that's from the year 8.
Right.
Or something.
Right.
Like, I don't know how they process that.
Oh, like Greece, ancient Greece,
Yeah,
Egypt,
right.
all over the world, everywhere. We're the baby country of the world.
It blows my mind just thinking about it, just from our experience here. And I don't get out much, but what I think of it as old is not even old compared to what other people get to witness and see in their part of the world.
My first awakening to that concept was when I went to Europe for the first time when I was 14, and we stayed in a bed and breakfast hosted by people who lived there.
I love that. I've done one of those.
Oh God, it was the best. We stayed in a ton of them, my family of 4, and we stayed in this one called Mr. Pennington's Bunkhouse.
Adorable.
In Scotland, and And the home was 300 years old. And I remember looking out of the window on the second floor over like these fields of wheat or something and thinking, my God, this house is 50 years older than my country.
That is so wild.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
Yeah, and that was nothing for Europe standards. Then we started going to castles and all kinds of things. And then, of course, I've never been to Africa or Asia where they have things, or even Italy or Greece, where things are thousands and thousands of years old. It's wild. And still standing. Like, we got to buy a new fridge every 10 years. And freaking Colosseum's still standing.
That's amazing.
All right, so here we go. These are all places in the world that were once alive with people, but are now abandoned, except for, well, something that might linger still.
Oh, I love it.
These places aren't just empty buildings and deserted streets, Amanda. Do you know of any, can you think of any ghost towns? Like,
we have one nearby. We have one if you drive out past Carbonado. There, and I can't remember what it's called. You gotta
take me there.
Well, I tried to find it once. So it's this.
Don't you have to like hike though through trees and woods?
Yes, it's a whole
really
hike, and the town was like, okay, I don't know. It's near this town that did a bunch of like coal mining, and there's a river there, and there used to be a little settlement along the river, but everything is gone. The roads to it and everything is just gone. So to get there, there's kind of a trail in the woods, but not. We tried it. Our family tried it. It's not supposed to be a long walk, but we couldn't find it. And we were passing other people on the trail, and they're like, "We couldn't find it. We couldn't find it." But it does exist, and it's nearby, and it's just this abandoned ghost town down on the river.
Interesting. Scary though to be wandering around looking for it. You could get totally lost.
Yes, there's sort of a trail.
Okay.
But the trail
doesn't take you anywhere.
It must converge at some point, and we missed the cutoff.
Or it's like Brigadoon. Is that the one where it like comes and goes?
Schmigadoon?
It's the Schmigadoon of Washington. We need to start advertising it that way. It'll get a lot more play.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, these kinds of places, I don't know, they've always just fascinated me. And I haven't really gone to any, but I've always been fascinated. And every time I come across a story on the internet or National Geographic or something talking about them, it just gets my creative juices flowing and wondering about the paranormal and the supernatural that might be going on there. These places carry the weight of history and tragedy and, according to some, ghosts that refuse to move on. So, let's begin our tour of the world's most haunted ghost towns. Woo! I'm using paper today, so that's a fun sound.
You should put in some music, like drop in some music.
Okay, I will. Here comes some music. That was music. First up, we have, and I apologize, I did not use Google pronunciation or any pronunciation guide for these, but here we go. First up, we have Pripyat, Ukraine. I know I'm saying Ukraine right, but I don't know about the other.
Pripyat. But here's the thing. People who've listened to us already know that we are moms and teachers, and we don't have a lot of time for research.
Not an educational podcast.
Unless you educate us. So somebody tell us how we pronounce Pripyat.
Yeah. It's capital Pripyat. One of the most infamous ghost towns in the world. But listen to this. It was established in 1970.
Oh.
So which doesn't sound,
that's
super
not
crazy.
old at all.
Except we'll remember what happened there. Any ideas?
This is in Ukraine, 1970. Did we have nuclear?
Real famous little incident.
Little incident
Little incident called Chernobyl.
Oh, it's near Chernobyl?
Yeah. So the city was home to nearly 50,000 people, mainly workers from the nearby Chernobyl nuclear power plant.
Ooh.
But on April 26th, 1966, wait. How can that be?
That's before.
No, sorry, it's my eyes. Hold on, let me have my glasses on. Yeah, my math was not mathing because I couldn't read it. 1986. But on April 26th, 1986, everything changed. That's when reactor 4 at Chernobyl exploded, sending deadly radiation into the air. Did you ever watch Chernobyl?
No, I don't want to. I know.
I only watched bits and pieces, and it's everything. It's everything horrible that you could think of, plus more, because of all of the corruption. The people who knew what was going on and didn't do anything but saved themselves. And
that's what I mean. It's just going to make me angry.
Yep. Angry, sad, and grossed out. So the entire city was evacuated within 48 hours, leaving behind homes, schools, and amusement parks frozen in time. Those pictures of like amusement parks frozen in time and taken over by nature freak me out. Even malls that have been abandoned and taken over by nature. Why are they so scary?
I don't know why they're scary. I actually think that they look cool.
I mean, I'm happy for nature. Go nature.
Right. There's just something
but
amazing.
I do not want to wander around
it's
them.
like that life finds a way quote from Jurassic Park. Like you can build cement structures and completely change the terrain and everything. And as soon as the people go and stop maintaining that, life will take over.
Good for life.
I think it's cool.
Good for it.
I think it's cool.
I do too. I just don't want to walk around in it. I don't know. It just is very spooky to me. It's a weird juxtaposition of like industry, modernization, modernity, and the jungle. And it's a crazy combination when you have, you know, how much time it takes to either one of those things to be created, right? Giant skyscrapers and a giant jungle. And then suddenly you realize, wait, that jungle came after the buildings. There's just something really
It's interesting
bizarre.
how fast it happens.
Yeah.
And how everything just gets taken over. And it kind of makes sense how we've lost so many civilization, you know, buildings and structures from a long time ago, because the nature just probably overtakes it pretty quickly.
They found some things recently in South and Central America, I believe, with the ground penetrating radar, the LiDAR, like where they can fly over and it can penetrate through the canopy and through the terrain. And they've been like, oh, and look, there's more structures.
That's cool.
That's nuts. Ghostly figures. Let me back up. Today,
that I wouldn't want to see.
no. Today, like you just talked about, nature is reclaiming Pripyat, but visitors report something even more unsettling. Ghostly figures in windows, eerie children's laughter in the abandoned school, and shadowy figures moving through the ruins.
That would creep me out.
This is very exciting to me. Some even claim to have seen the, quote, black bird of Chernobyl, a terrifying winged creature with glowing red eyes that supposedly appeared before the disaster.
That's Mothman.
That's what I'm saying. Or, like, that thing appeared, supposedly. So, could it have been a warning or an omen of doom?
Yikes.
Yeesh. I don't know.
I have a theory that, like, those abandoned places, there are people living there. Like, who, you know, you could go and live in some of these structures.
Except the radiation, you couldn't last very long.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, you're well over your gamma.
But they're going to, people go to visit, so how much radiation do they get by going to visit?
You can go like dark tourism, but it's not something that you go do. Like you and I wouldn't go.
I wouldn't go. But the people who go and see the figures and hear the laughter, how much exposure are they getting?
Probably more than they think.
Yikes.
The Geiger counters. They're probably not walking around with Geiger counters, but it's not good.
I still think people could live there. And just...
with their forearms and
yes.
Maybe. But also when you see that much tragedy, it's so fast, that energy's... some of that's going to get stuck. Or, I don't know. That's my personal beliefs, I guess. All right, now this next one I have no chance of pronouncing correctly.
Okay.
So I'm going to say it as best I can and then spell it. Oradour sur Glen.
Is it Irish?
No, it's French.
Then you're saying way too many consonants.
Oradour sur Glen.
Perfect.
No idea. It's ORADOUR dash sur, which means like under, dash GLANE. The village that time froze.
Okay.
Is its nickname now. So next let's visit that place. This was once a peaceful village until June 10th, 1944, and this is horrendous, when Nazi soldiers massacred 642 men, women, and children in one of the worst war crimes in history.
Gross.
Just took out the town.
Was there a reason? Did they need it?
Did the Nazis
strategically
ever have a reason?
Were the people living there certain?
It was in France. They wanted France.
Oh my word.
Yep. So after the war, French President Charles de Gaulle ordered the ruins left untouched as a memorial. And let me tell you, it feels heavy just looking at pictures of it.
So it was a whole town.
Yep.
A whole village that they
Gonzo.
just slaughtered all the people and took the village.
you know, as you do when you're a tyrannical dictatorship. So, yep. Visitors report now hearing whispers on the wind or ghostly footsteps following them, and even full-body apparitions of villagers in wartime clothing walking among the ruins.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't want to visit that. So far on your list, I don't want to go.
No, same, no. No, but if you are fascinated by these kinds of things, Dark Tourist is a fantastic Netflix series. The guy who hosts it is remarkable. He reminds me a lot of my husband, actually.
Oh, fun.
Tall, lanky dude who pushes boundaries, for sure. Not a great rule follower. Sort of like my husband. And he goes into these places that you should not be going, and he does these things.
That sounds
wild.
fun.
It's
I'll
a
check it
good
out.
series. Really good series. Very informative. So next, let's visit Hashima Island, which is on...
Japan?
Yep. Gunkanjima is the other word, and it's known as the Ghost Island.
Why?
It's an abandoned island, also known as, well, I just tried to say it. So it's Hashima or Gunkanjima or Battleship Island because of its shape. It was once a booming coal mining town.
I'm picturing the I Sunk Your Battleship game.
Same. Just like a flat gray.
A flat gray thing with like maybe
little holes in the middle.
Holes in the middle and maybe one big white
Or
post.
red, like red smokestacks. So it's adorable, this little ghost town. It was once a booming coal mining town. So many of these ghost towns, I'm only telling you about a few, but so many were lost to industry. Like the industry just wore out. And so the jobs leave.
Jobs dried up, people leave.
You're not going to stick around when
We've
there's
got a bunch
nothing
of
there.
we have a bunch of those in Washington.
Hundreds.
There's a bunch in Nevada because there were so many like silver mines and things like that, and they dry up. People leave.
Yep, gold, coal, diamonds, silver, all the things. So from 1887 to 1974, it was a booming coal mining town housing over 5,000 workers. That doesn't seem like a lot, but it's still quite a few. Many of them forced laborers during World War II. So that can't be good energy, right? When the coal industry collapsed, the island was abandoned overnight, leaving behind eerie concrete ruins. Visitors claim to hear phantom voices, footsteps in empty corridors, and even ghostly figures of miners appearing in doorways before vanishing into thin air.
That's wild.
Mines are scary. Mines are very scary.
Mines are scary. I went on a really cool mine tour with my dad in Nevada.
We did too.
Yeah, they have some wonderful ones there. And we asked the tour guide about paranormal experiences he had because we didn't really have any in the mine, but he's had several.
I bet.
But he just keeps going back in.
Yeah.
Taking the tourists.
Because he's learned it doesn't hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and you're surrounded by other people most of the time, and yeah, no problem. The next one is Kolmanskop, Namibia. The desert's haunted diamond town. Now this one, we'll post pictures of these places.
Okay.
This one's wild looking. From an island to a desert. Next we're heading to Kolmanskop, Namibia. In the early 1900s, this was a booming diamond mining town. But by the 1950s, the diamonds ran out. And so did the people. Kolmanskop was left to the sands. And it's nuts. So you can imagine
like sand
diamond
blew
mining.
Over? Like sand?
Yeah, it just turned into a desert.
Weird.
Yeah, and it was wealthy, right? So it's like, there's a couple of these that are like mansions covered in sand.
Oh, I'd love to see photos of
It
that.
is so nuts.
I have not seen that.
So today the town is partially buried under dunes, and ghost hunters claim it's one of the most haunted places in Africa. Big place, that Africa. So to be one of the most haunted places is saying something. There are stories of more phantom footsteps, strange lights moving through the abandoned houses, and figures standing in the desert mist.
Weird.
Could they be the spirits of miners looking for their fortunes? Probably. Duh.
Right.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yes.
Whitnum, Australia, our favorite, because you got to talk with all the things litten up at the end of your sentence. Now it's Irish again. See, I can't do accents.
That's funny. I can't do an Irish accent. But I think I can do an Australian accent.
You can't.
And you have to lift your voice at the end.
My God, it's so good.
Every time you speak, you got to lift it like a question.
It's perfect.
It's not perfect. Everyone Australian is listening going, no.
Well, I know. Right. To me, it could not be better. I would, if you spoke like that all the time,
You wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know.
Amazing.
But I've also never been to Australia, so.
Oh, well. Then yes, my accent's perfect.
I've watched some things. I've seen Crocodile Dundee.
That's not a knife.
This is a knife. All right, finally, let's head right down to the down under, Wittendom, or maybe it's Wittenoom, or I don't know. Let's just call it Wittenoom. A ghost town abandoned, not because of war or disaster, but because of something even more insidious.
What?
Asbestos.
Were they mining it?
No, I
How do
don't
you
know.
get asbestos? I don't even know where asbestos comes
So,
from.
yes, it was a thriving mining town in the 40s and 50s, but when it became clear that asbestos exposure was deadly, the government shut it down.
Good.
Like you should, government.
Yes.
Good golly. Took us a lot longer up here. Today, it's a no-go zone, but some visitors claim to see shadow figures moving through the abandoned streets, and one particularly chilling sight, a woman in a blue dress. Always super
Always a
chilling.
blue dress? Why would a woman in a blue
Listen,
dress
at
be
least it's
mining
not a white
asbestos?
dress. I'm so tired of the white dress.
Yeah,
women in
that's
white.
true. You know, no-go zone in the Australian accent would be like, "No guys, ein."
Wait, do it again.
No guys, ein.
Oh God, I just want I don't know how to make it possible, but I want a QR code made for my classroom door that when you scan it, it says that with your voice. Now guys, on.
That was good.
Oh man, that's fantastic. Good job, Amanda.
Thank
What a
you.
connection. So yeah, that woman in a blue dress who said to appear only to those who linger too long. No lingering in Wittenoom.
Get a job.
Seriously.
I love these.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
Like, are these just forgotten, unfortunate places? Do you think is it possible that there could be paranormal stuff happening there, supernatural stuff? If so, why? What would be your theories for that?
Well, yes. There's a lot of abandoned places that show up in the ghost hunting shows.
In the what shows?
The ghost hunting shows.
Oh, I
what
thought
did
you said
say?
the Lego hunting. I was like, what is
The
that?
Lego hunting
Lego
shows?
hunting.
They're popular, but I think they're popular because it's so quiet that every little noise you hear, you can be like, what's that? That's paranormal. But I don't know that it always is. Right? These
Right.
places get infested by wild animals. They're broken down, right? So things could be crumbling. I think all kinds of noises that they hear could possibly be explained naturally. However, I've also seen on the ghost hunting shows a lot of weird things that I can't explain, like dark shadows and things like that. But
Well, the one where they went to, I remember when Jason and Grant went to some really famous place in Nevada, and they saw a full body apparition on the stairs.
But did it show up on the camera? Or is that the
No.
one where they were talking about they saw it?
They
but they
saw
didn't
it,
catch
and
it.
they didn't catch it. But those guys, I believe those guys 100%. Most of them I do not, but those two I do. And they were like, no way.
Yeah,
They tried to debunk it, go up and was it a light? Was it something? What could it have been?
Yeah.
They both saw it.
The Ghost Hunter show, Lindsay and I are big fans of it. We've said this in a previous episode, but I had a friend who worked on the show on the production team, and it was her job to comb through all the video footage they would get every night. They just leave the cameras running. And so they had a whole team of people who would just go through the video footage with a fine-tooth comb. And she swears everything that they caught, and they watched 40 hours of footage to get 1 second of something paranormal. But everything they catch is what they've really caught. They're not making anything up.
No, they don't. They're not exploitative. Is that a word? Exploitative? They go in as to debunk things.
Right.
So that when you do find something that you can't explain, it means something.
Right.
And so do Kindred Spirits, which is, they're an offshoot of
them
Ghost
too.
Hunters. But speaking of hearing those sounds and remember when you were at my house not too long ago when my son was outside throwing the baseball against the chimney?
Yeah.
So the last few days I've been hearing this sound. Play it on my phone here. Wait for it. Okay, did you
Is
hear
that a
that?
tree? Is that a tree creaking in the wind?
No. So let me back up because I recorded the sound from inside my house. You can hear
Trying
birds.
to identify what this mystery sound is coming from our gas fireplace.
My family was asleep, which is why I'm like whispering.
I don't know, a few weeks ago, and it seems to have picked up with frequency, but it's only in the mornings, as far as I know.
That.
That's weird.
That's the sound.
That's really loud. Could it be
Very loud.
a woodpecker?
Ding, ding, ding. So that's first video that I showed you. It's this little bastard.
She's got a bird in her chimney.
There's the metal thing on top of my chimney because it's now a gas fireplace. And he's just chilling up there. He's a pileated woodpecker. And he does this at the end of this video. Little jackhammer nose.
And I can
little
see
beak.
if you're like out in the Chernobyl area and you think you're all alone and you hear a weird noise like that, you might be like, oh, it's paranormal.
Yeah.
But I think most of the sounds are just nature.
Yeah. I
Or
thought it was
natural
like
things.
gas stuck in the gas line and vibrating the metal pipes or
Like
something.
a farting gas
So
line.
I turned it all off and I'm like, nope, still happening. And so then I sent a text to our hot tub guy who we just bought our new hot tub from, and he also does gas fireplaces. And I was like, hey, Andre, any idea what this sound is? And he goes, well, sounds like it could be a woodpecker on your chimney. And I'm like, no. And I go, I'm going to go see if I can catch him. And so I tiptoed out my front door this morning and creeped out to my driveway and caught that video just today because I was like, oh my God, he's right there.
That's cute.
Busted, buddy.
But
Busted.
how do you explain? So a lot of the stuff can be explained, but how do you explain people seeing apparitions of other people in period clothing or in the blue dress you mentioned? That's so strange to me. What is that phenomenon?
Who knows? It's either like trapped energy. Well, first of all, if it's real, if it's really there, they're truly seeing it, it's got to be like trapped energy, whether that's just the stuck on a loop residual haunting or actual spirits that are meandering around for whatever reason, or time does not exist the way we think it does, which I already believe.
I've heard that time is not linear.
It's
That
not.
everything is happening now. Everything is happening. And if that's the case, then something happening in 1940 and something happening now, maybe there's a chance that they're happening at the same time,
Right.
and someone happens to see that. I would love to be so lucky. I haven't seen
Right.
anything like that.
That you know of, because so often they just look real.
That's wild to me too. A lot of people report
It's
that
not like they're all see-through.
when they see ghosts, they're like corporeal. Like they'll see a child in their backyard and be like, it looks fully like a real child. That's wild to me.
Yep.
I guess I always assumed my whole life that ghosts would be see-through, like they are in the movies, or wispy, or
Just a mist
but
or
there's
something.
a lot. I'm hearing more and more reports of people who see like a full three-dimensional.
That's why I think they're probably around us all the time and we just don't notice because they look like real people.
Or just like at the grocery store, and
Yeah. But I've had the experience a lot where I think I see somebody and then I turn right back and they're gone. And I'm like, there's nowhere for them to go. Like there's no building, there's no wall to hide behind. Did they duck down behind something? No.
right. I had a story like that when I was 16. I shared on another episode, and there was nowhere for the woman to go. Absolutely nowhere. And she just wasn't there the next time I looked.
Creepy,
a split
creepy.
second later. Maybe that was my ghost sighting.
Yeah, you've had at least that one. For sure. I wouldn't doubt it. Well, I think it's cool that there's a lot of similarities amongst these places. It's wild to me. The thing that blows my mind is that humans can be so industrious and so innovative and inventive and wreak such havoc on nature with those things and just come in and set up, bulldoze, dominate the landscape, take over, establish a whole community or more than one community, and then within, like you said, a very short period of time,
It's fast.
one thing changes and people leave and you're left with just nature going, I guess we'll just take this back.
And life finds a way.
Yeah.
And it grows in the cracks of the cement and
Or just
takes
gets
over.
buried in sand.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that I want to show you that's in the Middle East that is super bizarre. Well, I can show you right now. I'll show you a picture since we have a couple minutes. This one is...
Scotland is doing something called rewilding. Have you heard of this?
I know what rewilding is. I haven't heard about Scotland.
I heard that
doing it.
Scotland has a big rewilding movement, and I was going to ask you when you go visit to see if you can get some pictures of people who are doing it with their lawns and.
Oh, I want to
and
do
stuff.
it with my lawn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know that I could convince the Mister or the HOA to go for that, but I do want to get rid of lawn. It's
Right.
so wasteful.
Right.
It does nothing for the environment, and turn it, like, let it grow, like put a bunch of pollinating flowers and little
Yes.
paver walkways. You know,
Yes.
just a couple paver walkways so you could get from the front to the back or
Mhm.
whatever, but then just let
Just let it happen.
pollinating plants happen.
I love clover and moss and all the things that the HOA makes us take out of our lawn. It makes me sad. We have this little bunny that loves to eat the clover, but the HOA wants us to rip it out or poison it out.
Ugh, so bad for the environment.
And for the bunny. What a
Right, right. So here's one. This isn't the one I was thinking of immediately, but I have seen this one before. Burj Al Babas, a massive abandoned town of Disney-esque castles. What was supposed to be a luxurious urban development for wealthy foreigners has become an eerie, half-finished ghost town in Turkey. So check this out.
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
Well, it's
It's
also
all Disney castles.
weird,
That looks
right?
like
They
an
all look
AI-generated
exactly the
picture.
same.
You sure it's not?
Yeah,
made
this
up
is
by...
Burj Al Babas. So it's more than 700
Oh.
multi-story castles that all look exactly
Also,
the
the
same.
castles kind of all look connected, other than the road winding through the middle. Are they all like
I
one
don't think
giant
so. They're
townhouse
just
structure?
really close together, like we do with our Cracker Jack
Whoa.
box houses, but they're not castles. So most of them were already sold by 2019. After a series of unfortunate world events, Turkey's economy dried up, leaving the sweeping village's fate uncertain. So this just was built like 6 years ago.
Oh, I feel bad. Those developers
Yeah, listen.
made something amazing, and now they don't. What happened there that people
So-
didn't want to move in?
Well, apparently the Turkish economy went bust. So there's 587 of these homes. This wasn't how things were supposed to go. It was planned as a luxurious, stately urban development offering the look of royal living for anyone willing to shell out anywhere from $370,000 to $500,000. That's like US dollars, like equivalency.
That's like a house in Washington.
Yeah, for their own little palace. So how did it become
Wow.
abandoned? Well, let's look. Construction started in 2014, was expected to take 4 years though. Within that same time, the developers were forced to declare bankruptcy. So as building the town got underway, locals became enraged with both the aesthetic of the homes and the business practices of the developers. So they didn't like any of it. According to the local news, many were frustrated that the castles didn't resemble anything in the area. Right. Particularly the historical Ottoman style
Right.
mansions.
They don't. They look like Disney princess
They
castles.
absolutely do. Yep. So a combination of bad choices and bad timing, construction was halted. And so investors all pulled their money. Then the pandemic hit. So
What a neat idea. We
Yeah.
have so many housing communities here, and they're building more and more out by my house, but they're all, kind of cookie cutter. This is something special. Why aren't they doing
it's
stuff
so
like this
ugly.
here?
Oh God, it's ugly.
It's a Disney princess castle.
But they're identical. I would never want to
you
live
could
somewhere
get
where it's
one-
identical.
You could get one and you could paint yours
No,
a different color.
no.
You can hang
It's
flags all over
exactly
it.
the same as all of the others. It's weird.
That's why it looks AI generated.
It
because
does.
They're all...
It looks like copy paste, copy paste, copy paste.
I don't hate it. I actually
Oh.
would
Well,
love...
you're entitled to that, I
think
guess.
that's kind of cool.
But there's another one. I don't know. That just is like, if you wanted to do, it's like taking the U.S. and like a United States idea, right? If you had an imagined idea of what it would be like to live in the United States, but you really had no idea what it was like to live in the United States. That's what I think people might think. And then you like take that, paint it white, and slap it in a desert, and it's just like this grotesque combination of over the top yuck, but also it's the same for every single person.
Right.
There's something about that combination that bugs me. Like if it was 700 unique mansions, it wouldn't bug me nearly as much. I would still think it's grotesque.
Well, that's why I
But
thought
the
it was like
exact-
a townhouse structure, because they all are the same. So I was like, they look like a row of townhouses, but they're castles.
700 of them.
I don't hate it.
It's a lot.
I kind of feel
You're
bad they
allowed.
went
You're allowed.
bankrupt. I
That's
think
fine.
that could be a cool
But this is where, listen to your audience, developers.
Right.
Like, find out, what do the people want? What's going to sell? Ask, like, morons.
Right.
You deserve to go bankrupt. You didn't do any research.
Well, this is what you're reminding me of, the Gaza situation where Trump is offered to like move everybody out, take over the beach side and rebuild. And I can just picture him doing something like this, some string of ridiculous housing that nobody from Gaza actually wants.
No one's going to live there.
This is not
it's going to be a ghost town in 4 years after it's
Yeah.
built, if God forbid he gets his way.
He's not being sensitive to their needs and their culture and what they want. And yeah, you can't just go in and build a bunch of Trump hotels on a...
No, you cannot. Well, that's all I got today, but I do have homework. So, have you ever visited a ghost town or experienced something paranormal in an abandoned place? Like your dad did when he was doing his auditing for that hospital,
in the abandoned hospital. Yeah, he had an experience. Yeah, I want to hear people's stories. I would love that.
Until next time, I guess. Don't forget to follow us, The Paranormal Classroom, on Facebook and Instagram. Also, you can email us at theparanormalclassroom@gmail.com. And Amanda is awesome at getting back to you and writing back and forth with y'all. So that's all we got for right now. Stay curious.
Class dismissed.
And don't open the door.
That was fun. I liked it a lot.